Murdered on a family hike. Two parents killed in front of their young daughters. Now this morning, an arrest.
We were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls.
Plus, terror at 30,000 feet. A Delta jet hit by violent turbulence. The emergency landing, the injuries, and what happened in midair. And the drumbeat grows louder. The latest country backing a Palestinian state and the message to both Israel and Hamas. The stories that matter, clear and credible, from across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. We begin with breaking news. A former elementary school teacher is under arrest in that horrific double murder in Arkansas. State police say 28-year-old James Andrew McGann is the man who brutally killed a couple as they were hiking with their two young daughters at Devil's Den State Park last weekend. Police took him into custody last night. McGann was recently a fifth-grade teacher in Oklahoma. He passed all background checks before getting hired. Investigators believe he attacked Clinton and Kristen Brink Saturday while they were on a walking trail with their girls, just 7 and 9 years old. The children survived and went to the park visitor center to report their parents had been attacked. They are now with family. The head of the state police praised the work that led to the arrest.
The collaboration between state police and other local law enforcement agencies, our federal partners, has been second to none. I also want to thank our media partners for helping us distribute important information during these past few days. Because of their hard work and investigative skill, we were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls.
Still no word on motive. Police say the couple had just moved to Arkansas and Clinton was set to start a new job this week. The park remains closed as the investigation continues. Now to another breaking story this morning. A Delta flight headed for Europe was forced to make an emergency landing after hitting violent turbulence that sent 25 people to the hospital. Delta Flight 56 was flying from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam when it suddenly diverted to Minneapolis. The airline says turbulence was severe enough to injure dozens on board. The Airbus A330 made a safe landing just after 7:30 p.m., where paramedics met the plane at the gate. 25 passengers and crew went to area hospitals. Flight tracking data shows the aircraft climbed more than 1,000 feet in 30 seconds, then dropped just as fast before changing course to Minneapolis. In a statement, the company said, "Safety is our #1 value at Delta, and our Delta Care team is working directly with customers to support their immediate needs." New video, devastating testimony, and a packed room full of grief. The NTSB has begun a public hearing into the deadly mid-air crash over the Potomac that killed 67 people in January when a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines jet near D.C.'s Reagan Airport. Investigators now say the helicopter crew likely did not know how close they were or how low. Faulty altitude readings may have misled them, and a key instruction from air traffic control never got through because both sides keyed their radios at the same time. Newly released video from the end of the runway shows the crash as it happened. It brought some family members to tears. Many wore their loved ones' pictures on buttons or around their necks as they listened to the findings. The pilots in the passenger jet pulled up just seconds before impact. The Black Hawk crew, investigators say, never saw it coming. The hearings continued through Friday with more questions for the Army and FAA about how this happened and how to prevent it in the future. New developments in the Epstein case this morning. The Justice Department says the grand jury transcripts it wants unsealed contain testimony from just 2 law enforcement officers, no victims. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy AG Todd Blanche told a New York judge in a court filing that only an FBI agent and an NYPD detective testified before the grand juries that indicted Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The move to unseal the testimony came at President Trump's direction. He's pushing for any and all Epstein records to be made public, calling it a matter of transparency. Now, Senate Democrats are turning up the heat. Chuck Schumer says he and 4 other senators are invoking a century-old law, the Rule of 5, to force the DOJ to hand over all files, documents, and evidence in the Epstein case. He says the public deserves to know who enabled or participated in one of the most heinous sex trafficking operations in history.
Under federal law, when any 5 senators on the Homeland Security Committee call on the executive branch, the executive branch must comply.
The judge in New York is now weighing whether to unseal the grand jury testimony, while victims and Epstein's representative have until August 5th to weigh in. Canada is now joining France and the UK in making a bold diplomatic shift, announcing it will formally recognize a Palestinian state in September at the United Nations General Assembly. Prime Minister Mark Carney says the decision hinges on major changes from the Palestinian Authority, including a promise to hold elections without Hamas.
This intention is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to much-needed reforms, including commitments by the Palestinian Authority's President Abbas to fundamentally reform its governance, to hold general elections in 2026 in which Hamas can play no part, and to demilitarize the Palestinian state.
The recognition push comes as pressure mounts on Israel to accept a two-state solution or risk losing international support. Israel quickly criticized the move, calling it, quote, a reward for Hamas. But Carney says lasting peace requires a viable Palestinian state and Israel's security. All this comes as the war in Gaza rages on and aid groups sound alarms over a deepening hunger crisis. Just after midnight, President Trump posted on Truth Social that Canada's decision will, quote, make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Kamala Harris is out, at least for now. The former vice president says she won't run for governor of California in 2026, ending months of speculation about her next move, but leaving the door open for other possibilities. In a statement, Harris said in part, I love this state, its people, and its promise. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. The 2024 Democratic presidential candidate added she will focus on helping elect Democrats and will share more about her own plans in the months ahead. Harris had been a frontrunner in the California field as Gavin Newsom is term limited out. But sources told CNN she worried a governor's race would pull her away from bigger national conversations, including a possible third run for president in 2028. She's now looking at starting a PAC, launching a nonprofit, or possibly doing a listening tour through the South as she decides what comes next. Finally, it happened yesterday after the show, but the pictures are powerful, and we thought you might want to see them. Fans lined the streets of Birmingham, England, as Ozzy Osbournes' funeral procession made its way through his hometown. The heavy metal legend was honored with flowers, tributes, even cheers, as his coffin passed the very streets where Black Sabbath was born. His wife Sharon, overcome with emotion, laid flowers at the Black Sabbath bridge, flanked by their children, surrounded by fans, and watched by millions online. Ozzy wasn't just a rock icon. To many, he was family. His Brummie roots ran deep, his voice unmistakable. And yesterday, the Prince of Darkness got the kind of farewell that only a hometown hero could. A busy Thursday ahead. Here's what we're tracking today. This morning, federal investigators continue digging into that deadly mid-air collision over D.C. in the winter that killed 67 people. Then at 10:30, Texas lawmakers will tour flooded communities in the Hill Country and press officials on a disaster that claimed more than 130 lives. At 12:09 Eastern, NASA and SpaceX are set to launch 4 crew members to the International Space Station. And at 1 o'clock, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt hosts a briefing. By the way, if you want more unbiased updates, just sign up for our newsletter. We give you just the facts, no fluff. Go to san.com/newsletters. Those are your unbiased updates for this Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Friday. We all love that. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.